identified, really Elena did the hard work on this. This comes out of a talk she did for several pastors' wives. This is a mic for you, Elena. That we're going to give you very, very fast. We have called it the roller coasters of church planting. It's all written there for you. So I even just have our hint scratch notes in there. Elena's a little mortified right now because I just ran you our notes and everything. So
I like that.
yeah, we didn't edit anything. We just put it in there, whatever it is. Boy, Dave is really being a jerk today, but it might be in there. Do you want to explain why it's a roller coaster?
I found...
Come forward a little.
I found that I needed to use this? Okay. I found that church planting, in my experience, is like a roller coaster. It has such incredible highs. You know, when you open your service and people come that you didn't expect, I get chills thinking about it just over and over again. So there's nothing like it. And then there's some really down lows where you're like, I'm going to lose my cookies. This is not what I bargained for. So I just thought it was the exact experience that I had. And I wanted other people to hear that and hear what to expect. Because I think in most of life, it helps. I like to be prepared. It's nice to be prepared. You can't be prepared for everything. But it is nice to have something in your back pocket going, okay, it's not just me. And you know what? They said this was going to happen. I need to be prepared in this way, if I can be prepared. So when you know that the roller coaster is going to go up and down, I found it to be a lot more enjoyable. You're not thinking, wow, I'm the only one that's freaking out here, or I'm the only one that's screaming from delight. So that's why I use that illustration.
It's a great metaphor. So yeah, when you hit that low, it doesn't mean you're about to go off the rails and everybody's going to die, which might be your first experience. You think it's Space Mountain or something, but you realize later, no. And now I know, it's tame. I should go to Santa Clarita or Magic Mountain or something. But we've been in this long enough now that when we got to our second church plant, we were like, okay, we've done this before. We've been here before. We know what this is. It feels a little different. So we at least want to introduce you to the topic now. Confidence, I call it. This is young Dave, self-confident. This is Dave after getting stuff kicked out of him after the church was going through this hard stuff, no confident. And then finally you reach a point, hopefully in your life, that you get to a place called God confidence, where it's like, yes, His power is perfected in my weakness, therefore I will boast in my weaknesses. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I'm going to go be faithful. And that helps with the confidence roller coaster. But anybody count? Well, we'll get to it later. Confidence roller coaster. We got to go fast. Am I second?
Yep.
What do I want to say? Okay, this is the one. Attendance roller coaster. Does anybody here still care about attendance? Yes. That means yes, right? Well, the attendance roller coaster. You're going to count. Everybody counts whether they admit it or not. If you had 10 people in your small group one week and 2 people came the next weekend, you're not feeling great. If you had 10 people one weekend, 12 people the next time, 14 people, guess what you've done if you're a church planter? You've just drawn that line all the way into you're going to have 10,000 people if you're anything like me, which hopefully you're not. Or if you had 14, then 12, and 10, you're thinking, oh, we're dying. I see where this is going to hit the ground and everything's going to explode, right? The attendance roller coaster, look, other things are going on. It's one measurement. I'm fine if you measure. It's good to know if we're getting any traction. But there's other things going on. The attendance roller coaster. Make sense?
Other thing I'd say about that is that in a church plant, it can often be up and down, more so than a stable existing older church, right? Just because, well, you're church planting. And it isn't stable. And so everybody decides to, in our area, go to the beach. And so that weekend, no one's there. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen the next week. So I would see that a lot, especially in our first church plant. Yeah. And newer believers or non-believers, hopefully, are not in the rhythm. We just take it for granted. Of course you go to church on Sunday. No, for a lot of people. So
we had one guy he came every 6 months, and he was like, he wanted a gold badge. He made sure he got in front of us so we'd see him. Dr. David is his name. He's some doctor or something. For like years and years and years, every 6 months, and we just love him. Hey, so glad you're here. 10 years in, he came to faith. And now he's a stable part of Shore Life. We see him every time we're there. Dr. David, how are you, man? You're here more than every 6 months. Way to go, dude. So, and here's the other thing I would do now, like I didn't do then. I would just probably now relax a little bit and focus less on the people who aren't there and more on the people who are in terms of the moment. In terms of the moment. Rather than feel the disappointment of, oh, I got to look like I'm happy, but I just really want to slit my throat or something. I mean, now you're getting to know me. I'm sorry. Okay.
The next one's mine.
You're going quick.
The next one is, does it say organization?
Yep.
Okay, organization roller coaster. Because I felt, in my experience, that church planting was a lot like keeping house. If you finally get your house clean, people go and live in it. And then it...
How dare they?
How dare they? And so people come to faith, and if you're fortunate, people are coming to faith, it's messy. Like, they come with their stuff, and it's not all clean. And they, because it grows, then you have to determine what you're going to do with this growth. So not only is it a discipleship issue, it might be a building issue. So I just get the small groups organized. Now what? Oh my goodness, I have too many people, or I have all these people that want this specific thing because now they're dealing with their recovery issues or whatever it might be, and I had not anticipated that. So I would just get all my things all lined up, nice and organized, have my little booklets and everything, whatever was working, and then, so I found that to be aggravating as a leader, and you might too. So that's pretty much normal.
Well said. So perfectionists in the room, you don't have to raise your hands. We all know who you are anyway. You're going to ride this one. You're going to ride this one. So, okay, so you can breathe a little too while I'm crashing on the attendance roller coaster because I want to be vision and goal oriented. While I'm crashing on that, you're going to crash on the organizational roller coaster. And then let's just help each other out. We can all kind of take a breath together.
And it's just by virtue of, hopefully, the kind of people that you're reaching. It's messy. You know, when you come to an established church, it looks so organized. Well, because it is. But the new church has a lot of things that are fluctuating. And you don't feel like you're trying to get to this point. You want to look like that established church that you came from, or you want to go to that other situation that you're not at yet. It's just by virtue of the great, wonderful things that are happening. It's messy.
It's messy. So here's a line on that one. Wow, this is a happy problem. There's your line. There's your line. Things are all messed up here because so many people are here messing it up. This is a happy problem. If you have people at the center of your target, that other stuff is going to get peripheral. You don't want a clean place and no people in it. This is a happy problem. Here's the other one. I would have mature believers come back and say, well, you know, look at these books. We only have 20% of the people given like 80% of the money in the 80-20 thing. I'm like, yeah, that's right. We need to be at a place where 100 people would get, because then we'd have all this money. And then I'm thinking we would have all this money and no lost people and no new believers. If your money is perfect, your church sure isn't. So if you've got some dissonance there, it's okay. Bring them along and don't get mad at them. And don't let somebody get up and berate people on that. Please don't. 'Cause anyway, now you're really going to, I don't know. Revolving staff. We got to keep going because Dave's freeforming. That gets dangerous. Okay, revolving staff. So in our first church plant, we planted the church in 91. We helped a guy in 92. We sent an intern in 93. We sent a team in 94. We sent another team in 95. And about 96, I passed out, exhausted and about dead. Many of those churches are still going, praise God. But out of 11 people we had on our staff at one moment, 9 of them left on church plants. And we were still loading the flipping truck. You know, it's like we should have more money, more people here. But now, I get to go to 25-year anniversaries of full churches. And it's way more than it would have been had the one church just grown. So people are going to leave. Here's what Andy Stanley says. This is a jewel. You ready for it? You might want to write it down. Everybody leaves. You either die and you've left. You get mad at somebody and you've left. Get disillusioned and you've left. Or somebody sends you out. I would rather have people leave because we're sending them out. Here's another piece of that. Apostolic leaders are going to go. They're designed to go. You can't be a church that says, oh, we don't plant churches. Yes, you do, because God, as I read the Bible, He's still calling out apostolic small a leaders. And if they're called to be sent, I better be sending them or they're going to go. Listen really carefully on this one. We could avoid so many church splits if the pastors would just drop their guards and bless some people when it was time to go. Pastor Gary, you guys, Pastor Gary is a gem. I was a national church planting director for a long time, been all over the country. What you guys are doing with 3 teams here, it kind of takes the cake in the whole country by you guys being here and this church releasing you to go. So that's great. So it's okay that people are going. You want them to go ultimately. I got to keep going because we're running out of time and I'm talking too much. Okay, are you next?
Yeah, I think I'll do a little bit of this. You'll have more to say on this. Financial. I take it from the stance of the pastor's wife. In a new church plant, potentially, you have a roller coaster of finances. It's not all usually set up well. First of all, you have some kind of organization or church that is hopefully contributing to you and to your plant. But things change. It could be, well, we can help and support you for 6 months, but after that, we're going to decrease our support for, 50% or whatever. So I found, as a church planting spouse, that was really challenging. Sometimes it came in great blessings. Oh my gosh, we didn't anticipate that somebody was going to support us or some church was going to support us. But more often than not, it was just change. It was like, wait, I'm trying to make a budget here and feed my kids, and it's different this month. Okay? You might have a lot more to say on that.
I would rob liquor stores. Okay. It's true. I mean, no, that's not true. Here's the challenge, guys. You're balancing 2 budgets.
Yes.
You're balancing your home budget, you're balancing your church budget. You want to see the church move forward, but you want, at the same time, you got to take care of your family. So here's my off the record, on the record stuff. Here it is first. Spend time on the financial piece and line it up by faith before the Lord. Do the best that you can, due diligence to line that up so that you can take care of your family and the needs that it's going to, because where that's not happening, it's going to get harder, so do that while you can. There's 6 streams of fundraising and support, and we don't have time to get into all that, but gosh, I wish you had more time on that piece. But pay attention to it. I know some of you guys, I know your stories, I know you're working due diligence on making that happen, praise God, but it's fish and loaves, and He comes in the ways you never expect. Everything we've ever had in our church planting funding so much of it has come that we never saw it coming. What's that? God? Because it's a faith venture. But do your due diligence on that one.
And sometimes it was really practical issues like, gosh, if we don't require quite as much funding for us personally, we could get another staff member on, and that would help Dave so much. What do you do, right? I mean, sometimes it was just really down to like, God, this would really help. So do we sacrifice? Sometimes it was just that nitty gritty.
I decided I want the other staff member to leave rather than my wife. So I thought, that's pretty easy. We're going to do this one.
Good job.
And here we are, baby, 34 years later. But you know what? Even on that one, listen, we're planting in our 3rd church right now in our home. We get it, guys. We get it. We get the struggle. I don't make light of it. But we have seen God show up over and over. And where you can challenge people, back to the mature believers, challenge your team on this. When you can challenge them, they should be giving. I'm not saying the whole church collectively because you have a bunch of non-believers, but your team, your primary core, give them that vision, make sure that they get it and they know it's going to need to be funded, so help them do that. Not in a berating way, but in a vision-casting way. Money follows vision. It really does.
Connection. I think it says on your notes, assimilation, backdoor. I think the point there was that it's much easier to raise a crowd, bring a crowd together, than it is for connection. And you all know that. Just thinking through your ministry, right? You can have a great event and you can have lots of people there. That does not necessarily mean that they're connected and or if they're spiritually interested and all of that. So we spent a lot of time loving people, getting to know them, and then they'd leave out the back door. And it just break your heart, right? And that was up and down. And just for every story like that, there's the story that, the guy who comes to Christ in our first church, who now goes on to become the teacher of the year, who becomes, on a church planter. Yeah, so, right? You have both extremes, but sometimes it can get wearisome because you give your heart away and it goes great, and sometimes you give your heart away and you're just sad. So it's just the reality. And you know that because you're in ministry, right?
Oh, we still love you guys, but we're leaving the church because we just don't like the blah, blah, blah. Here it comes. What do you do with that? Oh.
Or they move away.
Or they move. That's, it's just hard. It's just hard. I get it more now than I did. Here's my challenge personally on that one. Personally is the key word. I took it personally. People were leaving. I took it personally. So I'm all torqued at them in Jesus' name. When it probably really wasn't personal, I just took it personal. So all this gray hair is me trying to get get me back on track. But it happens. It's going to happen. And two more, and we'll give it back here to Micah.
Okay, we only have two more.
And I'll take, I think I have these two, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The opinion roller coaster. The opinion roller coaster, and this kind of gets with that. Some people are going to love you, and some people are going to barely tolerate you, but they like the church, so they're going to stick around and make your life miserable. Hey, how was that? Put that in a quote. Some people are going to like you, some people are going to not like you so much, and if you listen too much to that press, it's not going to help. I still do. I'm sure I'm less mature than all of you guys who don't do that probably, but I sure have, where you're just like, I'm just being kind of snarky.
And as a pastor's wife, I would hear some of the back channel, right? So I would hear, oh my God, your husband, he's so amazing. What a great guy. He saved our marriage and he came to faith, and wow, if it wasn't for Dave.
Which is the wrong focus. Yeah, right.
But then, just equally so, there'd be the person that was totally torqued at him for some ridiculous reason.
Husband's a jerk.
And I would get to hear that too. So that was hard on me. It was hard on him. So just equally divided sometimes. Like, wow, this is just amazing that you guys did this. And then equally discouraged that you did this. So.
Give you one more, and then we'll wrap it, okay? Thanks, Elena.
That's it.
The last one is this, the energy roller coaster. Oh my goodness, I didn't get this figured out till late into our second church plant. I've been in church planting now, Elaine and I, for 30 years. We've worked with lots of church planters. I've seen wonderful visionary guys. One guy who's a great dynamic leader. Just one Sunday he didn't show up. So everybody's going, where is so-and-so? He wasn't there. They found him in bed curled up in a ball where he stayed for a month. I'll give you another friend. We sent him out on one of our plants. Fantastic leader, doing a great ministry across the country right now. You might know his name. I won't say it. He was doing a great job, working faithfully, doing everything right, doing his devotions, and found himself in bed curled up in a ball for 2 months. I'll give you a third one. I can say it because he made it public. Wayne Cordero. Speaking, preaching, so magnanimous and generous, and I think he's all of that. Doing all the things he needs to be doing, and in his own words, he found himself on a curb in Southern California weeping uncontrollably and went to the doctor and said, your adrenal glands are shot, dude. You need to do nothing for 6 months. And he's like, I can't do nothing. He wrote the book, Leading on Empty. It's worth getting. The energy roller coaster. I got to a point where I would get up ready to do Sunday, and I would take me till Wednesday to even start to feel human again. Something's out of balance there when that's going on. They've got warning indicators on my dashboard telling me something's weird, so I got to throttle back on something. Now I'm breaking my value of sustainability. So I have to manage me, because I put it this way too. As she goes, he goes. Right? One way or the other. And in some ways at the front end, or however it works, if the leader's a man or a woman or whatever it is, as one of them goes, the other one goes, and if they go, let's say we go, there goes the church plant. Yeah. So you've got to manage yourself, and it's okay to do that. Managing yourself means giving yourself margin in finances where you can, margin in time, taking days off, doing the refreshing things that you need to do, and everything's going to fight for it, and you're never going to get it to be what you want it to be, but if you don't fight for it, it's to some degree you won't have any of it. So you got to think about it and get in the schedule. Is that fair? Okay, so we say a few things. Be ready. Just you knew it's coming. Protect your family. Focus on the positive.
Put people around you that are positive. That's the biggest thing I can say. Yeah, and focus on the Lord, and what you're trying to do. But those people with a great attitude, with cast, put them around you.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need the negative stuff, especially on a Monday. That's bad. Hold on to God. It is a faith venture, and sit close to friends.